Welcome back to a special edition of JMC Live. We've been having a great time with our Forsaken Generation. Sean Wrench has been wonderful, a fabulous guest, and very informative and passionate about leading a movement to end youth homelessness. And Sean, I have to ask you this question for our listeners. If there is one thing that you would want to share with our listeners closing out, what would that be right now?
You know, Jeremy, it's a great question, and I think that if I was to want to share one final thing, I would just tell people that we need to start taking a little bit more seriously the fact that Jesus told us that the greatest thing we could ever do in our lives was to love Him and to love other people. I think we get so wrapped up in our day-to-day lives, and we're so worried about what to do or what not to do in our daily lives. We're worried about what other people are doing, or we don't like this thing we see or whatever, and we tend to lose sight of what is entitled the greatest commandment. And I was reading two different books right now. One's called The Love Revolution by Joyce Meyer. The other one is Mark Batterson's new book. I believe it's called Primal. I'm kind of lost my train of thought on that for a second. But it kind of talks about that, and it makes me so happy to see stuff like this coming out, because I think we need a revolution in the church today. We need to start taking seriously the fact that Jesus said that that's the greatest thing that we could ever do. Because I believe that if we do that, then everything else then falls into place. And so, you may not be compelled to help our organization. You may not feel passionate about youth homelessness, but there's something else. And so, I would say too, to just, I think how I got led to this, because if you had told me a few years ago that I was going to be starting an organization to help homeless kids, I would have told you you're out of your mind, to be very honest with you. I mean, it's never something that has even been remotely close to being in my mind or the forefront of what I thought I was going to dedicate the rest of my life to. But what I did is I took the time to pray and ask God to lead me in the direction that He wanted me to go, not the direction that I wanted to go. And so, because to be very honest with you, this really isn't necessarily what I wanted to do. I had other ideas of where I was going to make a difference in the world. And but I was open to going where He wanted me to go, not necessarily where I wanted to go. And so, my final thought would just be that we really begin to take seriously what Jesus told us to do, and that is to love other people, and that we would ask that He would guide us in how we can make a difference in this world. And I promise anyone that's listening to this that if you do that, you will see unbelievable things happen in your life, and your life will never be the same, because I know mine's not.
All right, Sean, it's been a great moment and time with you, and I think this was just what the doctor ordered,
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come on your show and to be able to talk about this.
And for all you listeners,
long interviews too, because I really like to talk.
I know we've talked before about this, and I don't know if a lot of people know, but Sean's one of our ministry partners, and we've been supporting you for well over almost a year now. And seeing the things that you're doing, giving you advice, praying for you, just being there with you, and that's what's needed sometimes. It's just someone just to be there, knowing that
absolutely
you'll listen to them and you'll help them out in the direction you can. And I know you have plans to probably come here to Ohio and other places as well, and everything's coming
Jeremy,
together.
That's the other thing too, and I would feel. I feel like that, one final point that I really need to bring up, and that is that I do ask anyone that's listening to the show to pray for us, because, in James it says that our prayers are powerful and they're effective. And so if people will simply do that for us, if nothing else to do that, then we would really just appreciate that, because I think that it's going to take the prayers of a lot of people to really change this situation, which is a big problem that we're seeing in our country. So if nothing else, pray for us. We'd appreciate it.
Yes, if everyone could pray for for Mr. Sean and put them on their list. Add it to their church and put it on their prayer team or whatever else that you might have. That would be even great. Don't forget to sign.
Well, and Jeremy, that's actually a great point. That's another thing people could do for us too is bring this to your churches. I'm going to be speaking at Celebration Church down in Jacksonville, Florida this May at their Shine Conference, and we hope that opens doors at other churches across the country to get them involved in this. There's a church in Albany that we've been talking to about getting involved, Northway Church, and so bring this to your church, bring this to the leaders in your church, and say, hey, listen, this is a really, really important issue that is being that children are facing this on a national level. I don't care where you are or who's listening to this. I promise you that there is a problem with youth homelessness where you are. I live in a very small town outside of Syracuse, New York, and youth homelessness is a big issue here, and this is a really small town, so it's a problem everywhere. So bring it to your church and tell them to, take a look at this and consider getting involved. It's just that would be huge.
Yes, get involved, people. Pray. Let your church know. Let your friends know. Find out what's going on. Don't just blow it off and say, well, I just don't feel it for the moment. Like Sean said, this wasn't what he really wanted to do at first. And, when God is using you and molding you to the person He wants you to be, it's not about you anymore. It's about serving the kingdom. It's about being the hands and feet God has called you to be. And these children, they have a voice. They have a mind. They have a plan, a hope, and a future. But when you're homeless, you need someone to not give you a handout, but to give you a hand and lift you up and place you back on solid ground. And that's what Forsaken Generation is about, is reaching out to the hopeless and to the dark and needy and to people that you may even walk right past these people and don't even realize they're homeless because they're nicely clothed and maybe they're living with friends. You could be going to school, high school, junior high, even college. You could be even working with a coworker in a cubicle next to you who is homeless. You may not ever know. Become a friend.
100% right.
Become a friend to somebody. Reach out to their need. Feed their bellies. Get into their minds. And reach their hearts. And I want to thank you again, Sean, for coming. I want to thank our listeners for tuning in to this special edition of JMC Live. We will do this again. Sean, keep me in mind when you get with Mr. Jimmy Wayne and anything else. My door is open to you at any time. As I said off there, you can sleep on my futon when you come here in Ohio, and I'll drive you around if I need to. But I'd like to thank everyone again for coming to JMC Live. I hope you have a blessed day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.